Good evening, everyone. Welcome to day two of our fabric program. We will begin shortly at 7 p.m. We hope you enjoyed yesterday's session and are excited for today's learning. Until then, make sure your fellow friends were joining. Once the trainers arrive, we will start the pro session. So, please wait patiently. Thank you. Once again, good evening, everyone. Welcome to day two of our Microsoft Fabric program. So, wait for the few minutes until the trainer will start. So, we hope you enjoy the yesterday's session and are excited for today's learning. Until then, make sure your fellow friends are joining and make sure learners can use the Zoom link to join the session daily. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us. It is now my pleasure to welcome our expert trainer, Mr. Kanahaya Kumar, who will be learning today's session on Microsoft Fabric. Sir, thank you for being with us once again. The participants are ready and eager to learn. Over to you, sir. Have a great session.
Hello everyone, good evening. So we are going to start our session today and I'm sharing my screen. Okay, we'll wait for 2 minutes and then we'll continue the session because many people is going to join in next few minutes. So just give a minute, we'll continue the session. So we can start now. So before continuing, okay, okay. So before continuing, for the topic about IAS and PAS and SASS, uh, so yesterday, whatever some questions, some important questions have been asked by few people that I'm going to address first. So those questions are about how AI is going to impact a job and future. So that is very much addressed by a lot of experts around the globe. Definitely, you can if you do some your coursework like some research, you will find out a lot of experts have responded on that. But if you want me to respond, you don't need to worry about AI. AI is not going to eat your job. It's going to be just a partner, like associate for you. That's all. So as of now, people who are working with various top companies, their research, their outcomes are telling that when they are using AI along with their job, they're able to save some time in terms of 40 to 50%. Okay. Remaining 50% task what they used to do, they are performing as it is. So that is the impact of AI as of today. Definitely, it has impacted our current roles, current job scenarios and all. But when it comes to second question, so first question basically you don't need to worry. As long as human being is handling AI, you don't need to worry. It's going to be just a partner for you who's going to help you, assist you for your task and job. Why it cannot eat your job? Why it cannot impact futuristic part as of now? Because uh, still it has limitation in terms of various things. So when we say like various things, then one of the example like responsibility. Even though you can perform certain thing with help of AI, but who is going to take responsibility? Not AI, it's you, right? So because of that, your job is secure and safe. Uh, Another scenario could be like when it comes to human sensitive things. So AI is definitely do better in terms of every activity, every task. But when it comes to human sensitive jobs, works, what we generally do. So for example, like banking, where a lot of money related things happens, right? Loan, credit, debit, and all those things. So that matter still people has not accepted in you know very much digitally even as of now. A lot of people still believe that traditional approach is very good. So example is you can try to think about this that what kind of innovation happened in terms of digitalization 10 years back, 20 years back, 30 years back, and then what kind of people today, like a number of people you can try to estimate, or even you can do your research in terms of Google, or even like AI tools. You have ChatGPT, Cloud, many are there. You can use that and find out that still majority of services we have in terms of banking, it's very much manual. You go to SBI Bank, you have to perform everything even as of today, despite having so much digitization. Still, you have to perform so many things manually, right? So, similar approach, comparison, you can visit to HDFC Bank or ICICI Bank, will find the difference. So, HDFC or ICICI might be a little bit advanced, but when comes to security part, when comes to safety security, definitely SBI is a much better than any bank in India because state is running that bank, and so state has very huge responsibility, not in terms of digitalization, not in terms of the terms what general terms we have, but even the people, politics, and various other things. So that is a reason that whatever tools, technology may emerge in future, and if it is controlled by people, then you don't need to worry. It's going to be just helpful for you positively. But another factor which is not a very new after AI, before AI also, many companies in Japan and China, or for that matter, even US, many companies, their entire processes are automated. One example I can tell you for Japan, like Toyota. So Toyota manufacturing plants are not today, few years back, before AI revolution, everything automated. No human being is involved for any sort of manufacturing activity, right? Now, today, if you see China, because China is a manufacturing hub of the world. So, for example, smartphones, Xiaomi manufacturing plants, if you see, entirely automated. None of human being is working in those manufacturing units. There is a so many car companies are there in China. Uh, you know, because as of today, China is far ahead than the rest of the world in terms of car manufacturing. They have huge manufacturing for cars, EV cars. So most of these plants, including Xiaomi, including Huawei manufacturing plants in terms of car, and there is more than 157 companies are there in China, which basically manufacture cars, EV cars, and they are exporting to entire world, and everything is absolutely automated, right? So, uh, so that is another factor. So when comes to hard job, hard stuff, that is definitely going to be impacted largely in terms of automation. When it comes to human sensitive things, that is not going to be impacted mostly because human touch is non-negotiable. Whatever we do, that is non-negotiable. Fine. So that is definitely one question I wanted to address. Then next question about that what are the skills basically required in terms of this domain, and what kind of opportunities are available for analytics or data analytics. So that is a so you are going through Microsoft Fabric, and Microsoft Fabric includes multiple technologies. It's a single unified platform which helps you in terms of handling multiple technologies, starting from Python, SQL, and Power BI. So these are the tools which we are going to use in Microsoft Fabric, and these are the ecosystems of Microsoft. Okay, and similar tools technologies are available. We have discussed yesterday also some extent, and further also we are going to discuss about how this is impacting and what is the comparison in terms of various other tools and all. But I can tell you some stats about data analytics. So in last 6 months, jobs has been doubled in India in terms of data analytics. So in terms of posting on Naukri, LinkedIn, and whatever some job sites are there, uh, as per some estimator, it has been doubled what earlier it used to publish jobs on these job sites. So demand has been increased for analytics job. When you want to start the analytics career, you should start from Excel sheet, just learning rows, columns, and the tables, data. And yesterday we have gone through activity in terms of your a smartphone, like you use any digital device as a smartphone or any other device. So what kind of input you give and what kind of output you get, just try to think about this. It's a kind of thought process, right? And deeply understanding that how it impacts the business. So that is a thought process you can start with. And when it comes to applications, definitely Excel is a primary uh, a skill set where basically analytics career can be started. Further, definitely you have like Power BI, you have Python, you have SQL. There is a dozens of applications are there. Okay, so you can use in this that order. And what we are going through in terms of Microsoft Fabric, uh, it is basically single unified platform. So everything will be covered starting from beginner level, very much beginner level. So that is the only two questions I thought like I should respond you. And many questions are there. So it's all related to LMS, which is going to be addressed by Amar. And today or tomorrow, sometimes he's going to respond all of your questions related to LMS. No worries on that part. So next we are going to continue from here, IAS and PAS, PAS and SaaS. So SaaS is basically software as a service. Okay. And applications like, for example, you have Microsoft 365 or Power BI, or you can say Microsoft Fabric itself. These are the SaaS. Even Tableau, you can say, or you can say ClickView, you have Domo. Many applications are there. Okay. So one more thing, just I wanted to tell that handing, raising your hand or whatever comment in chat, during the session, I will be not able to take care this part because number of people are, too much. I mean, huge. So we cannot address all the questions and even hand raising things. But you will have a dedicated time. Uh, During that dedicated time, uh, we are going to address those questions. So that is yesterday I have told you that end of the session, before end of the session, and when we begin the session, first 5 to 10 minutes we are going to, or end 5 to 10 minutes we are going to address the questions whatever you have in the chat. Don't worry, I'm going to address almost every critical questions, important questions. I can read everything, but I'm going to use AI to figure out what kind of important questions you have in chat. So feel free to type your questions in chat, but if it is a critical and important, then only we are going to address. Otherwise, by default, while going through this course, this session, you will be getting all the responses. So you need to be just be patient. You will be getting a response for everything. So critical part, why I said, because not everyone is asking very relevant and you know, important question in flow. So might be what yesterday you have asked question, today it will be respond by default, or tomorrow it will be responded by default. So you don't need to worry. During 15 sessions, most of your questions will be responded during the session itself. And critical part, that is that's what I mentioned. 100% we are going to take care. No issues. Okay. So let's continue with this part. So SaaS is about fully built software. You just log in and use it. For example, Power BI. For example, Fabric, Microsoft Fabric. Just log in and use it. Uh, Start to end, everything you can deliver using Fabric, using Power BI as well. Even multiple other applications are there like Tableau, ClickView, Domo, Looker, many are there. Okay. When it comes to PaaS, so platform as a service. So basically, it is a ready-made platform to build and run apps without managing servers. That is basically Azure App Service. So Azure App Service, even you have similarly with AWS and GCP and many other cloud service providers. So that is a major factor when it comes to handling, data platforms, or for that matter, any other domain or activities. So we are going to understand, that is the major purpose. So basically, we'll find why we are going to use Microsoft Fabric. Okay. So when we say like Azure App Service, so there is too many services are there. For one single project, you are going to use multiple app services, and billing is going to be for each of the services. And that is a problem what we are facing today, and it will be solved by Microsoft Fabric. So be patient, and this is where we are going to, mostly spend our time in terms of performing everything. Okay. Next, IaaS, that is about infrastructure as a service. So that is about raw computing in terms of servers, storage, and networking that you configure. So as I said yesterday, on premises, generally you have to maintain everything uh, physically, right? So you have to buy servers, you have to buy storage, you need to maintain networking, and further, you need to have those administrators who handle these technologies or these tools, basically, right? So how, after cloud computing, basically how it's going to help you, that is about Azure virtual machines, which is going to handle everything what you see here. So multiple examples will be there in terms of when actually get into cloud computing. You will realize that whatever on-premises we do the things, everything can be managed in these three categories, starting from software as a service, or platform as a service, or infrastructure as a service. These three parts covers up everything what you do generally physically on premises. So advantage is cost factor. Major factor is cost, and then resources, human resources. Because even you need more human resources to manage physically all these things. But when you use cloud computing, you are saving cost, you are saving human resources. So that is how things are basically getting optimized when we are using, cloud computing and cloud basically for entire, project. Yeah, for entire business domain, if you are using cloud, it's going to save multiple ways. It's going to save uh, either it's cost, or either it's human resources, either it's time, so definitely time bound is one of the critical factor again, that physically, if you are going to maintain these things, it's going to take a lot of time, and generally it takes, right? But when you use cloud, it's all, lot of things are well automated, and you don't need to worry at all. You don't need to even think about those things. So critical factor out of these three platforms, is major factor is about cost. So how this billing is impacting when compares to physical premises. Physically, all these things are we are handling on, like on physical premises. If you handle everything, then how much it's going to cost you, and same way how much it's going to impact in terms of cloud. So understanding this part is also very much critical for everyone. But as a beginner, you don't need to worry. uh, I'm going to explain you how it works, each of the process, how much, how it impacts your cost part, how it impacts various other things like storage, networking, servers, everything. I'm going to explain in detail. So yeah, let's move to further next part. So understanding in more detail about the IAS. So here we are using some cooking analogy that is very much popular for cloud computing. So first part here, say you buy the raw ingredients and do all the cooking, cleaning and maintenance yourself. So basically cook at home. Second, you have pass, that is a meal kit. Ingredients arrived, prepped. You just cook, no sloping or planning needed. So that is the next stage. SaaS, it's just a food delivery. Dinner arrives, ready to eat. You just enjoy it. Fully managed, start to finish. So that is a SaaS. Okay. So these three analogies, like again, depends upon what kind of roles, responsibilities uh, you're trying to get in terms of cloud computing. Because each of these category has, huge potentials in terms of building a career. Okay. So when it comes to data engineering, that is, we are going to discuss in more detail about that part. But we are discussing about cloud computing as of now. So these three factors definitely relevant to Microsoft Fabric and our future sessions. So for the things, deployment types, what we have, that is first like public cloud, shared infrastructure like Azure. You have private cloud dedicated to one organizations, and then hybrid cloud, a mix of both connected together. So in businesses, what happens? Certain things you need to have like for public, and certain things it should be private. So definitely, it's very common practice for most of the businesses. They need to, most of the businesses depends like uh, like what kind of business domain you are going after. Uh, so that is definitely an important factor in terms of hybrid cloud. Otherwise, a business which is very much suitable for private cloud, they're going to only use this, this part. Uh, a business which is very much, relevant or to basically public cloud, they're going to use only this part. Then you have mixed part. All three. Uh, it's depends upon your business, business domain. Okay. So what does data actually look like? You don't need to much, like, mm, so these are the part basically what I'm going after. It's about the cloud computing. Okay. So these are the relevant things for Microsoft Fabric. That is the reason we are discussing here. But this is not a core part which you are going to explore. Okay. So you are going to explore Microsoft Fabric completely. But before exploring Microsoft Fabric, you should have some basic understanding of these things. That is why we are just discussing, just like definitions or a little bit, deeping dive. Okay. Otherwise, it's all um, it belongs to cloud computing. Okay. Meet Microsoft Azure. Azure is a Microsoft's cloud computing platform, one of the world's three largest alongside AWS and Google Cloud. It offers IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS products, and it is used by most of the companies we met earlier today. So previously, I have shown you all those, service-based companies in India, and then global tech companies which have a lot of products and all. So all these companies are using all these three clouds. It's not only Azure or AWS or Google Cloud, all three, 100% they're using all these three cloud. Definitely beyond that also they're using, because you have Oracle Cloud, you have Alibaba Cloud, you have many other clouds platforms are there. So depends upon the expertise and kind of flexibility, features, security, architecture for different project, different purpose. Companies are using different cloud platforms. Otherwise, why they need these three cloud platforms? They can just use one, right? So they're using these three mostly, largely they are using these three cloud platforms. But along with that, they are also using some other cloud platforms. That is, it may be Snowflake, it may be Databricks, it may be Alibaba Cloud, it may be many more are there. Okay. So yeah, a few of the thousands of things Azure powers. That is about one is virtual machines. Then you have databases, and then AI services, Microsoft Fabric. Now you see here and we have Microsoft Fabric. So it may confuse this order. No worries. You are going to be very much familiar in terms of understanding this flow. So what is virtual machine? What is databases? Uh, how it works in cloud. So here you have just a hint. And in end, we are going after actually we are going to explore Microsoft Fabric, right? So this is a SaaS application, a SaaS cloud platform, you can say, and which will cover up everything. All these things we are going to cover up in this part. So that is the reason it has a huge popularity as of today. They have just launched in 2022, and next 1 year they have just improved or basically they have stabilized their features, whatever they have, implemented in Microsoft Fabric. But later on, a lot of development are happening every week, every month. You will get updates for Microsoft Fabric. So uh, it's in very beginning stage, and it's going to be very powerful applications in future because reason is that if you use a similar data platform like Databricks or Snowflake, you have to use different tools and technologies. And Microsoft Fabric allows you to do everything in one single platform. Okay. So we are going to catch up on that part. And slowly or slightly, we are trying to understand that how it differs from Databricks or Snowflake. That is also we are going to understand during the next 15, no, next remaining sessions. Okay. So don't worry. These are just introduction of some cloud, just about little bit about cloud. Okay. Uh, it's not about our fabric, Microsoft Fabric. There's a reason I'm not getting a deeping dive in terms of these things. Okay. Next part you have, where does Microsoft Fabric fit in? Okay. So let's see here that a SaaS analytics platform, log in and start working with data, no servers to manage. This is Microsoft Fabric, and it runs on Microsoft Azure cloud. So the cloud infrastructure, what you have, that is the data centers, servers, networking, and security. So this is not a part which, I mean, this part is we are not going to cover up. That's not our objective. But you need to understand your fabric, Microsoft Fabric, which we are going to explore, that is running on Microsoft Azure, which has all these, infrastructure, right? So to have, clarity, this is really important to understand that we are not touching base in terms of Microsoft Azure, but how it is impacting your application, which we are going to learn in next remaining sessions. Okay. So yeah, so let's move further. Understanding about the data, how actually it look like. So CSV file, Excel sheet, PDF, you have, Word document, you have PPT, you have various other formats. In various other formats, you're getting data, right? Like image, maybe JPG, PNG, different formats. So many, many years before, people were people were not imagining that, that okay, they are thinking about data when it comes in Excel sheet. If it is coming in PDF, I mean, it's too difficult to extract information from PDF or various other format like image and all. That was not too easy, or even not possible in beginning days. But slowly, if you see the journey of last 30, 40 years about how data has been, emerged in terms of various formats, various, types in terms of data, data types and all. So today, what we have flexibility that whatever data types, generally it was very like unimaginable in terms of extracting information in, I mean, very smoothly. Definitely, it is possibly like you have some manual approach, you have some different approach, but it may be too much expensive, or it may be too much like you have to put a lot of effort. But as of today, it doesn't matter. If data is getting stored in terms of CSV file, which means comma separated values, full form of CSV, XLSX, that is the Excel workbook, and PDF, portable document format. Okay, so you have glossary of all these full forms also in end. Um, so this is how data looks like. Okay. And today we have flexibility in terms of extracting all this data, whatever format, in whatever format you have the data. Mostly in terms, as I said, like either it's a CSV or XLSX or PDF, or you have SQL database, or you have images, you have videos, you have in different, yeah, these are the common, you know, uh, common data formats we have, right? Like in these formats, all data is getting as, what you basically generally observe, right? So all this data can be today processed, accessed, and you can create a data models on this data and very much smoothly. Okay. So let's move on further. So as I said, like each of the keyword what I have used in these slides, you have here key term, in full as a like glossary. So either IT, UPI, BPSI, ML, SaaS, everything, you have full forms. So when LMS team is going to share this PPT with you, uh, you can just, I mean, anyways, it's very much visible. You can use any whatever way actually you are comfortable, considering different backgrounds. So don't think that okay here in this course, like many people might be having a strong background in terms of data platforms. So definitely this is a course for everyone, even though you are into mid stage like mid-level developers in terms of Databricks, not an ISO, but slowly you are going to catch up in your level, like probably after 5, 6 session, you're going to feel relevant that, okay, this is where you stands, right? So, but since objective is that, larger audience should be understanding terms, understanding concept. So that is the reason we are focused in terms of very basic things from scratch. Okay. So this is what we have done in our, actually it should be covered yesterday. So whatever we discussed, that is briefly you have here. And next we are going to move uh, Microsoft Fabric. So we are going to understand about Microsoft Fabric, uh, all the workloads and whatever some core features, core everything in terms of Microsoft Fabric. We're going to explore in next session. That is uh yeah, that is going to we're going to start now, right now. Okay. So first PPT, it was built for 1 day, 2 hour session. But since yesterday we have like introductions and all, so it took some time on that. But today we are going to focus, start from here, concluding first day, second day, we are starting from here. Okay. So let's take it 10 minutes break now, and then we are going to continue with this session. So recap part, if you want to read, you can just read this part, and after 10 minutes, we are going to continue with further in terms of Fabric and today's session. Like as per the plan, today what we are going to cover up, that is what we will discuss after 10 minutes exactly. We can connect by uh, yeah, I mean 7:53. Okay. So thanks everyone. I'll see you in next 10 minutes. Hello, everyone. So we are back now, and so this is what we have gone through the first day, understanding about cloud computing, digital transformation, and the three career, that is data analyst, data engineer, and data scientist. And then, uh, you know, India has a real well-paid data engineering talent gap. So that is about demand part and futuristic approach in terms of cloud computing or Microsoft Fabric. So that is what we have discussed in fourth part. Okay. Next, we are going to start with second day. So it is about we are going to understand why Fabric exists. Its timings are tentative timings. It may be instead of 20, 15, or probably 25 also. Workload too, and this is very important part which we are going to explore more and more. Then we have some activity which may take some 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll have some again 10 minutes break. One second. Fine. So this is a uh, you know activity we are going to perform in today's session. So as much as possible, we are going to cover up today, and then continue with if something is remained tomorrow. Okay. So today, what you're going to learn, it's about Microsoft Fabric, how it's built, and what kind of problem it can solve. Then you have one lake. We are going to understand what is one lake, right? And then describing basically Fabric workloads. So we are going to focus on some 7 to 8 workloads. We will understand what are those workloads. Then next, match a real business scenario to the right Fabric workload. This is where you have some activity also. I'm going to describe that part again. And then navigate Fabric experience feature and explain what a workspace is. So mostly understanding about the workspace part, Fabric workspace. Okay. And next, it's going to be explain what SQL database in Fabric adds to the platform. So yes, so this part is going to be again discussed during this session. Okay. So let's start with why Fabric exists and what kind of problem basically Microsoft is trying to solve using Fabric. Okay. So as we have discussed multiple times that different tools and different logins, different bills, because these are licensed applications, right? So every applications you need to have login, you need to have, license, and you will be getting, you will be getting some bill for that, right? So that is basically a scenario before Fabric or during Fabric also. You have when you are using applications, data platforms like Databricks or Snowflake. So that is a scenario you have, as of today. So when we say Azure Data Factory, it is a ETL tool, okay, which is basic. So when we say ETL, that is about extract, transform, and load. All those activities we're going to perform with Azure Data Factory, but not like how we use Excel sheet or how we use different other applications. It may be Power Query. So Power Query is very common platform which we use in Excel sheet. We use into Power BI, right? And so that is not going to be approach here. Here approach is going to be Python. So we're going to use Python, PySpark. So PySpark is basically a library of Python which we are going to explore. We will understand basics of Python, basics of PySpark, and perform the task as sessions moves on. Okay, so no worries. You will have, as I said, it's a beginner course. So starting from scratch, you will be getting that where to start for each of these separate tools. Azure Data Factory, which is about how data moves. Then you have Azure Synapse. It's about warehouse and big data analytics and all. Then you have Azure Data Explorer. So that is about real-time analytics, streaming and all. And then you have Azure Machine Learning. So that is about data science. And Power BI, that is about dashboard or you can say visualization. So these are the five separate tools we had earlier, even as of today. But difference is when we use Fabric, these all you can use together on Fabric platform. Before, separately you were using Azure Data Factory, separately you were using each of these tools. Okay, so that is a major difference, or you can say major transformation in technology, uh, yeah, in terms of data platforms. Okay, as of today also, you can experience same with Databricks, but Databricks and Snowflake has a different advantage, even though you are using separately these tools. So we will catch up those things. Those are very advanced thing in terms of understanding, but you will catch up those things slowly as we move on. And briefly, I have already explained you that how it differs from peers, competitors like Databricks and Snowflake. Okay, so slowly you will have more grip, more deep dive on that part. Okay, let's move on with the real cost fragmentation. So data, one of the major factor is about data duplication. The same data copied into each tool's own storage, going stale and costing more with every copy. So that is a huge because you may have, I mean, as an individual, you might be just experienced in terms of using data, 1 GB, 2 GB, 3 GB every day, or 500 GB or terabytes in terms of all together in some time periods, right? And but when it comes to businesses, and just imagine the business of uh, e-commerce like Amazon, Flipkart, many more are there, right? Similarly, you can also think about banking. So every minute, every second, the kind of data is getting generated, right? Social media platforms, kind of data is getting generated. So if it is not well optimized and data duplications happens in terms of various tools, so billing is going to skyrocket. It's going to be huge billing, and that can be reduced to very low level, considering the duplications part. Because at multiple level, you are duplicating data. That cost is very huge, and that can be reduced to very, like logical level, where, when we say like optimization. So what kind of best optimization you can perform uh, in terms of data? So achieving that level, it may cost you reasonably what it should cost, right? And if you are not understanding that factor and using the same approach, it's going to be very huge number, probably 10 times, 20 times, 100 times more cost you are going to pay just because of data duplication, right? Next, when I said already said about multiple bills. So when you use multiple tools, each of the tools you have separate logins, separate, everything in terms of storage or security, architecture, everything you have separate, right? Processing, services, everything is separate. So that bill is going to generate for that particular tool. And the tool, when a billing generates, so it generates based on the services, a particular tool, what kind of services you have consumed. Based on that, bills are getting generated. It's not about that, okay, you use Microsoft Fabric or any particular tool, and since monthly bills are there, like some subscription you might be using Netflix or YouTube or whatever, some other subscription you might be using. So it may be monthly, it may be quarterly or yearly, uh, and whatever you consume, right? Whatever you consume, it's going to build the same amount. But that is not a case when we use the cloud computing or even Fabric. So everything is like straightforward, and if you understand these factors, you're going to work around this part, around this part and optimize the cost. And definitely maths, logic, everything works when it comes to this part. Okay. So you have to be just logical. Doesn't matter your background. You need to be logical. That's all. Next, security sprawl. Permissions configured separately in each tool. 5 places a mistake could expose data. So yeah, that is another advantage that earlier before Fabric, in terms of Microsoft ecosystem, you had 5 different tools. Each of the tool you need to configure in terms of security, and any part is basically breached. So any part is breached, it may cost you huge. Uh, and that is one of the critical factor you have to manage. And we are going to learn about this security part as RLS, OLS. When we say RLS, that is about row level security. When we say OLS, it's about object level security. So how basically it works? What kind of data modeling you need for this kind of security? How it impacts? Uh, what is the outcome? Everything you're going to understand how actually you're going to use in terms of your teamwork. For a particular project, there may be 10, 12, 20 people are working. How actually you're going to use the security features in terms of teamwork as well. Okay. Next part, you have steep learning curves. A new beginner had to learn 5 different tools, 5 different interfaces before being productive. So that is one of the, again, critical factor that if you have to learn a particular tool, you may think and decide whether you should go after that, tool or not. Many different kind of thought process will go up, it emotes a different kind of thought process, right? And on top of that, it may be economical factors, it may be different kind of factors, right? So same time, if you're just choosing Microsoft Fabric, then it's going to be very straightforward. Or everything is getting covered. All these five tools are getting covered in one separate application, Microsoft Fabric. So these are the advantages and cost fragmentation. You can say that major part is cost of fragmentation, and then definitely it's a very big advantage for all of us. Okay, so let's move on for the. Hmm. So enter Microsoft Fabric, one platform. So here you can see before five separate products. Here you have one unified SaaS platform, five separate logins. Earlier you used to have five separate logins for each of the product and applications. Here you have one login, one experience switcher. Then again, five separate copies of data. So each of the tool consume, separate copies of data using your old approach, RDBMS and all. And today it's one copy of data, that is one lake, right? With Microsoft Fabric. Earlier, five separate wheels. Each of these five applications, you have separate wheels. Today, you have just one wheel, one capacity. So this much optimization happened over the period of time. And that is what you need to understand. That is what you need to learn and explore in single unified platform using Microsoft Fabric. Okay. So let's move further. Meet one lake. Okay. So what is one lake? Right. So one lake is the basically OneDrive for your organization's data, automatically included with every Fabric tenant, one single lake shared by all seven workloads which you have in Fabric. Okay. So suppose if you are using Google Drive or OneDrive, how generally it works. As a beginner, you just need to think about OneDrive or Google Drive, or you might be using some other storage, public storage. So how basically it works, right? Okay. So when you store data in OneDrive, right? So when you store data in OneDrive, uh, and you need to connect for different purpose. Same data you want to use for different purpose. Okay, that is how OneLake works. Once you store, copy the data to OneLake, it's going to copy as it is without changing anything. So it's not going to change anything. It is going to copy as it is. And that is your source, basically. And on top of that, whatever you do, uh, I mean to say everything you can perform just using one source. That is why it's called like a one lake. Okay. So you can perform all the activity, every activity, everything you can perform just using one lake. But when we say this term, it's like a sweeping statement. When I say like everything, it's very sweeping statement. But various different factors are there. That is why you need to know the what is data engineering, what is like Medellin architecture, what is the semantic model, what is the star schema, snowflake schema, various things like orchestrator, quality logs, audit logs, too many things are there. Okay, that is what these are things actually we are going to learn and explore moving forward, and it's going to be very interesting. Don't worry. Each these are just theoretical part as of today. We are going to discuss just theory, but tomorrow onwards, it's all going to be practical. and hope each and every session is going to be very interesting. Uh, as I'm going to be from just starting from very scratch, very basic level, and there is a route basically to become a successful data engineers, analyst. That route part you understand very well. Okay, so why it matters? For example, here you can see a sales table loaded once in Lakehouse can be read directly by the data warehouse. A Power BI report and a data science notebook with zero copies. So when you have data into one lake, you are not copying data into Power BI report. You are just using the source credentials. Data is not getting transferred to Power BI. It is not getting transferred to data science notebooks. So that is a magic with one lake. Otherwise, earlier approach before one lake, it was like, for each of this activity, you have to, you need to have the data. You need to have the data source with a copy. But here, zero copies. You don't need to copy the data to the Power BI. You don't need to the copy data for the data science notebooks or any other purpose, right? So that is a really interesting and innovative transformation happened in terms of data platforms. Okay, so that is what we are going to learn and explore. Hmm. So next, that is what one copy of data from last slide actually means technically. Okay. Right. So we are going to deep dive more, deeper into one lake while going through our lab session, practical sessions, um, each and everything. We're going to be, our focus is definitely, this is one of the key concept you're going to learn thoroughly, start to mid-level, beginning to mid-level, everything will be explored in one lake, okay? During our Microsoft Fabric practical sessions, okay? So be ready with your SQL and Python, PySpark. In case if you know, if you don't know, I'm going to teach you that even SQL basics and PySpark basics, okay? Next, move to further. So next part, we have uh, workloads. So kind of workloads we have in Microsoft Fabric. That is what we are going to explore. So we have 7 jobs, 7 workloads, one shared home, and one lake. Okay. So you can relate it to previous discussion about one lake. So here 7 jobs, you have 7 workloads. So we'll understand in detail what is this 7 jobs, what is this 7 workloads, and one lake. Just briefly, I have introduced. We'll understand how exactly it works. Okay, let's move on. So just to have a 2 minute read on this. Meanwhile, I'm going to be on pause. Just read it, and then I'm going to explain each of this part for all of you. Okay. Okay, so you have gone through each of this life cycle, data life cycle. So first what, ingest and data factory. So it's about data ingestion. Okay. So when we say data factory, basically we are moving data from SQL Server and Excel to Fabric. So it's not like only SQL Server and Excel. You may have various data sources like SAP, HANA database, or you have different other databases or different other source. It may be website, it may be databases or some CRM like Salesforce. So various data sources all actually are going to move into Fabric using data factory. So here one more. Okay, so here one more important part you need to understand that it's not okay. So when we use data factory, here you have to use PySpark. Okay, in terms of ingesting the data. But same time, we have option in terms of using data flow Gen 2. For that, you don't need to write any code, and we are going to start with data flow Gen 2. So there you don't need to write any code, only GUI buttons, tabs, menus you have to use, and that ingestion part will be taken care. So that is where I'm going to start. But generally, it's just a general data life cycle. It's not about only data factory or data flow Gen 2, or you have notebook, or too many options are there. Probably it may be 30 plus options. It's not only data factory. Okay. So when we say in data life cycle, next part like store and transform. So that is nothing but data engineering. Okay. So it is about cleaning data and transforming data. Okay. For reporting purpose or data modeling purpose, different for different purpose. Actually, you are going to store and transform data. So when we'll come back to Medellin architecture or various other, you know, method what we are going to use, uh, that is going to be very critical, even in basics. Okay, this part depends upon the major factor is your size of data and storage format, like in which form actually you are getting data. Okay, next part you have data warehouse. So structured analytics and data warehouse. So basically, as to how your data is basically stored, a structured way. If it in data warehouse, you have to store data structured way. Next part you have predict data science. So this is about creating building machine learning models. That is a part of data science. Next part you have visualize. So for that, you can use Power BI and you can create dashboard reports and all using Power BI. So again, it's not only Power BI, other options also. You can use other tools as well for visualization purpose. Yes, including Python. You can use Python. Various options are there. We are going to showcase when we are coming to these topics. Definitely, certain things will be not covered. This is not a part of our session, our course, but some brief idea will get for everything. But major focus is going to be whatever TOC we have said with you, that only. So it's completely beginner level. Uh, because as you know, like if we are getting into data science, we need to explore machine learning. So that is not part of our course, but some brief idea I'll just give you on this. Okay, when it comes to this part, definitely we are going to cover up comprehensively. Definitely we are going to use Power BI, no other tools, but ideas I'll give you with the other tools also, like a Python or some other tools. Next part you have monitor. So that is about the real-time intelligence. So this is like you have various factors involved when we say monitor live. One of the critical factor is a refresh. So refresh works uh, very differently in each of application, like kind of applications you use. So for example, Power BI. So you have direct query method you can use. You can use live connection. In services, you have options for refresh. So, but assume if you have data more than 500 GB or 1 TB or 100 TB, so how this refreshes is going to work as a live. So whatever happens, you are getting live. For example, SBI Bank. SBI Bank probably have every second thousands of or probably millions of transactions every second, right? So if that data, if you want to monitor live, uh, it's going to be very complex, a very critical factor, and that is all about database. So what kind of partitioning you have done with database? What kind of data, basically data modeling you have done? All these factors, belongs to this real-time intelligence. So each and everything is very complex, definitely very complex scenarios you'll find for each life cycle. And definitely our focus is going to be basic level, basic to mid level as much as possible. So, can I mean, just why I'm discussing this part, because at least it should have some context, start to end. And then we are going to perform definitely starting from very basic level and touching base to mid level. Okay. Next, you have actor, that is data activator. So this is about the triggering alerts for a certain threshold. It should alert you that okay, you have reached a certain threshold. That is about data activator. So in power, like Microsoft ecosystem, you have Power Automate, you may heard about. That is a part of a Power Platform that can be used in Power BI also. Various options are there. Using Python also, same thing we can achieve using Python, PySpark. Okay, so that is about data. So this is a life cycle you need to follow. Uh, don't get confused. We are going to deep dive in every fact, every life cycle. As I said, like data fact, it's not about only data factory. Various options are there. When we say store and transform, so here again, quality time we are going to spend in terms of cleaning data, transforming data. Structured analytics, we are going to understand more about in terms of how to handle structured data with data warehouse. Predict, this is something which we are going to touch base briefly. And visualize, we are going to deep dive here, understand, learning from scratch. Even this part, briefly, we are going to touch base this briefly in the sense, you can say like starting from basics to mid-level. And this part again, full-fledged, we are going to explore this part. Okay. So each of the stages each of the life cycle has huge importance. Okay. Next, let's move to further. So that is what actually I was discussing about here itself. Huh? So quickly, I'm going to move further. Uh, you can just have a read on this, and it's all I had discussed earlier. So, hmm, what data factory basically does, pulls data from anywhere. As I said, like it may be SQL Server or different kind of database what we use: files, apps, APIs, websites, CRMs, from everywhere. You can just pull the data. One schedule, sorry, on a schedule or in a real time using data flows or pipelines. So multiple options are there um, for basically moving this data. Okay. So these terms will be very much clear when we perform practically, like data flows, pipelines. You know, it may be just confusing terms as of now, but while we are exploring in a real term, practically with lab, it's going to be very very much clear. No need to worry. So in the real world example, you can say like a retailer connects 200 store point, a point of sale. So that is, POS system. You have like POS, right? POS systems and automatically pulls last night's sales into Fabric every morning of a 6 a.m. Right? So you can just imagine this scenario. A kind of data might be there. So a retailer probably, let's say, if you are using, suppose if you have, sorry. So just 1 second. Hold on. Okay, sorry. So you can suppose if you are going after any retail stores like you know so retail chains, you can say, like many are there. So you can understand the kind of trans, just you can imagine that kind of chains they have, and kind of data is getting generated every day, and how actually they are going to move this data for analytics purpose or data engineering purpose. That is just a thought process. You should start thinking as of now. Let's move to further data engineering. So as I said, that is about cleans, reshapes, cleaning and transforming data. So that is using lake houses and notebooks with low code options. That is, when we say low code, that is always about the data flow Gen 2. So, so that is going to be beneficial for non-technical users also. And we are going to start from that only. That's what I was telling. That data flow Gen 2, we are going to start for even this part also. Instead of data factory, first we are going to start with data flow Gen 2 instead of data factory. Then we'll come back to data factory and some other options also. Okay. So this is about data transformation. Let's move further. Data warehouse, a fast SQL first home for clean, well-structured data, purpose built for reporting at a scale. So when we say reporting at a scale, so when you have a small data set, uh, normally you don't need to think much about partitioning. You don't need to much think about data modeling, schemas and all. It works, generally it works fine for, depends upon the purpose, right? But when it comes to, as I said, like 500 GB or terabytes, so various factors emerge, and that is very complex. So it's about the handling big data. Some ideas, some concepts we are going to learn, that how actually you are going to use those things, whether it's a data partitioning, whether it's data modeling or handling other schemas, including security data models. Yes. That is also going to be part of our session. And this part is going to be covered up in session 10. Okay. So why actually all these seven, uh, sorry, so why this life cycle is explained here, and then we are going after each one. So I definitely spend a quality time to explain you this part here itself. But step by step, again, you have each of this life cycle explained here. We're discussing about that part. And even sessions, in which session those part is going to be covered, that is also mentioned here. Okay. So as much as time allows, we are going to cover up start from very scratch to uh, mid-level. I'm not putting any word in terms of advanced because time may not allow, or even our capacity will not allow. Okay. So next about data science. So very briefly, we are going to discuss about this part, as I mentioned earlier. So what are the features you have in terms of Microsoft Fabric when it comes to data science activities? Slightly or briefly, I'm going to showcase or explain you theoretically. Depends upon the like how the time allows. Accordingly, we are going to look into this. Okay. So assume like very briefly, we are going to discuss or do something because it may be just confusing most of you because background definitely you should have machine learning background. At least if you know machine learning, then we can discuss these things in Fabric. Otherwise, you can just skip it or just understand a scope of this feature. Okay. Power BI part. This is the part we are going to spend quality time in terms of creating dashboard, understanding various factors in terms of semantic model, data models, how actually what kind of advanced features we have in Power BI. Most of the things we are going to cover up, but only purpose is dashboard. Okay, so don't assume that I'm going to teach you Power BI here, starting from a scratch in terms of like, but assume 60 to 70% things will be covered for Power BI, everything during this course, entire course. At various level, we are going to use Power BI. Either it's a data flow. So data flow is one of the critical part of, or you can say backend part of Power BI. So, and the same tool actually used for multiple purpose and multiple ways. So that is going to be covered at various level during these sessions. That is the reason I'm telling you like almost 70% or probably a bit more or around that it will be covered Power BI things. So visualization part is definitely everything we are going to cover up dashboard part, including data models and all. When it comes to data flow, we'll see as much as time allows, we're going to cover up that part. So beyond that, again, you'll have clear picture that where you stand and what you have to improve slightly on these tools, right? Because each of the tool has, huge capacity. Uh, like you can deep dive, as much like definitely there is too much scope in terms of deep diving. So when we say real-time intelligence, again, we are going to learn basic level basics, and that is going to be covered in session 13. Data activator, as I explained, it is going to be about how the trigger alerts at the various threshold. Okay, again, it's going to be covered in session 13. Okay, so one more thing, bonus workload, SQL database in Fabric. Okay, so Fabric's newest addition. So this is a recent development. A fully managed general purpose SQL database made generally available in late 2025, November, December. So unlike the warehouse built for reporting, it's built for applications, fast reads and writes one row at a time. So as I said, like in beginning itself, that Microsoft Fabric is emerging with features. They are improving day by day as it's very new. You can consider like in 2022 late it has started, and in 2024 they have significant changes in terms of features, and from there actually it's getting popularity. So it's hardly just 2 years um, in terms of a stable Microsoft Fabric. So very at beginning stage, we are into very beginning stage as a Microsoft Fabric, and same time competitors or peers are having like huge depth when we say Databricks or Snowflake. So that reality is we cannot ignore. Um, Even you have some other options as well. Okay. So in the real world, a starter builds a simple ordering app where every new order is written instantly to a Fabric SQL database and shows up in a Power BI report a moments later with no separate pipeline needed. So this is what actually magical thing you can achieve in Fabric. Just you have connected the database and instantly, in Power BI, it's going to show everything. So I mean, we have discussed more about these things in terms of, you know, like uh, refresh and all. So then when it comes to Fabric SQL database, we are going to learn in terms of data models and all. All together, any SQL database, don't worry. So when we use Fabric SQL database for different purpose in terms of data modeling, yeah, different queries and different features, uh, including partitioning and all. So that is applicable for any database. Don't worry. Same thing, little bit the syntax may change, and the same thing will work for any database. Don't worry. So they have now introduced in 2025 actually, end of 2025. So hardly seven, I think 8 9 months, right? So similarly, as I said earlier, like every week, every month, they are coming up with some new improvements, new features. So probably next 1 year or 2 years, it's going to be completely competent to Databricks and Snowflake. As of now, also almost 90 95% there, 90% you can say competent in terms of Databricks or Snowflake. 10% lagging in terms of advanced stages like ML ops or AI, in terms of AI and in terms of ML ops, it's lagging some extent. Otherwise, it's very much competent even as of today. So no worries on that, those things. Fine. 8 workloads, one platform, data factory, data engineering, data warehouse, data science, Power BI, real-time intelligence, data activator, and SQL database. That is the eighth one, last one, which have been added recently, just 8 9 months back. Okay. Okay, so now we have some hands-on activity. So that you can perform basically uh, in your we have to skip this today during live, but I will suggest you perform this activity, after the session. And whatever questions you have, you can tomorrow you can post it in chat. So moving towards, actually, we are going to catch up all the questions. I mean, all the critical questions, important questions, because we cannot read all everything in terms of the chat. So we are going to use some AI to figure out what are the critical questions have been asked by individuals. So my suggestion is just to use this chat box for only important questions, important part, not to randomly just like hi, hello, or good evening, something like that. Use it for meaningful purpose. Like write your questions, your curiosity, which you want me to respond you, answer you. So that is going to be very much helpful for all of us. All right. So that is one suggestion. Okay. So this activity, let me just go through and then you should try to perform yourself after the session. So during live, we are going to escape, but I'm going to just read out. You can perform, and tomorrow, during the session, you can ask, you can in chat, you can, if you have any questions or curiosity, you can just mention chat. So first part, a bank wants a dashboard showing daily transaction trends for its leadership team. Okay. Second, a hospital wants to store millions of scanned patient documents cheaply in one place. Okay. Third, a logistics firm wants an alert the second a delivery trucks goes off its a planned route. So you can understand the where this triggering alert, which we have discussed earlier, where that fits the most, right? So that is a logistics firm, supply chain, right? Next, a telecom wants to predict which customers are likely to switch providers next quarter. So that is about data science. Okay. Fifth, here you have a retailer wants to pull sales data from 300 store system automatically every night. So 6 point here you have a stock trading app needs to show price changes updating on a screen every second. So you need to just match workload to the job and just you have to little bit think about it and then you have to match the workload to the job. If you want, I will perform this for you tomorrow in first session, first few minutes. And same time, I want you to just go after the session. So when it comes to Tony, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So how actually we are going to share this PPTs to like students, like how they are going to get it?
You will share it in
LMS,
the LMS. Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
LMS, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so you will be getting this in LMS. If not immediately, anytime you can just perform this part because it's a self. You need to just evaluate yourself. Here we are. None of the activities is going to be monitored or evaluated by me or our coordinators. It's you. Okay. But you can ask your doubts and question in chat. We are going to immediately respond you on that. Okay. So considering the strength, we have to align, accordingly. So you can understand the here, like kind of challenges we have in terms of going after each and every questions or deep diving on those every concern. Fine. So next, anyways, these are not required. So next part, basically, it's about hmm. So we have gone through all those things. Next part is about practical. So we are going to start everything practical from tomorrow. So first step is going to be creating Microsoft Fabric account. So how the setup works, uh, how to create account. As I said, like suppose if you have college or university account, email account, you can use it and it's going to work straightforward. in terms of setting up Microsoft Fabric account. In case if you don't have that university or college or corporate email account, in that case, uh, we can use Gmail or Yahoo or whatever some general purpose email ID you have. So that using that email also we can do it, but that is a tricky, and I'm going to perform that. So I'm going to create a separate email ID for this training purpose, and using that email ID, I will activate Microsoft Fabric trial for 60 days. Same steps you can follow and create with your uh, email ID. So that activity will start tomorrow. Meanwhile, you have opportunity, like definitely you can create yourself the way actually you are comfortable. As I said, like official email ID, college, university, or corporate email ID. Okay. So next 10 minutes, we are going to look into your questions as much as possible. We will just trying to look into that part and respond. Else, we are ending today's session, and tomorrow, as I said, like we are going to start from our first Fabric workspace. It's very important in terms of setting up account, creating a real workspace and creating first lake house. So tomorrow we are going to do very important thing. So even though if you have missed, if your friends, colleagues, or anybody who have missed the first 2 day session, ask them to be so attending tomorrow's session because that is where your practicals labs actually starts. So later on, from tomorrow onwards, we are going to completely focus on our hands-on activities using Microsoft Fabric. Okay, so it's recommended that most of the people should join. So let's move here with some chats. I'll just try to look into randomly some questions starting from end. So avoid texting anything like a spam or something which is not relevant because use it professionally. That is a recommendation because I don't have intention to showcase this chat, but I I don't have as of now this as a in text file or something. But moving forward, it's not going to be shown publicly. Or I will just check with the coordinator. So, Tony, is it okay that I can go through this way and look into the questions?
Yes, sir, it is fine.
It's fine, right? So,
Yes, sir.
yeah, because I don't want to, feel anyone uncomfortable. And same time, you should also think like, okay, you are going after a certain course. So, have some professional manner in terms of chit chat और आस्किंग सम क्वेश्चंस ओके सर आपके पढ़ाने की अदा है निराली हर क्लास लगती है सबसे पहले ओके थैंक्स अ लॉट पवन कुमार थैंक यू okay so what is Microsoft Fabric and useful for real life so that is what we were discussing last two session and so in case if you have missed our this theoretical part in terms of understanding what is Microsoft Fabric and useful for real life, then be sure that you are attending tomorrow's session and continuing all the sessions. So we'll be learning that exactly what is Microsoft Fabric for real life case, and how it works in industry. Okay, how it is going to be helpful for your job prospects and various other purpose. Okay. So please do not share numbers, emails, ID, something like this in chat. It's recommended. So be careful. I don't have any work or school account to log into Fabric. Yeah, this is very good question. I tried using free Fabric account as well. It shows the account already has license with Fabric, but when I try to log into account.live, it doesn't work. Okay. So my suggestion for you, others, that create a fresh Gmail account and tomorrow I'm going to follow step by step how using your Gmail account you can create a trial account in Microsoft Fabric. But you have to use your debit card or credit card just to transact 1 or 2 rupees just for some of the apps or applications. Basically, you need to authenticate, but don't worry, it's not going to charge you anything for up to trial version, trial level. You don't need to worry. So it's going to just charge you a rupee or two to activation purpose. So that is for everyone. You can use Gmail. You can create your fresh Gmail account. Use only for Microsoft Fabric purpose. Don't use that email for any other purpose. Once 60 days complete or 59th day, you can just deactivate this Fabric account. You don't need to worry about any billings or anything. So it's very safe. You don't need to worry. Debit card or credit card is only used for authentication purpose, because if corporate people or someone who want to use it for business purpose. Okay. So basically, they are going to continue after trial. That is the reason. But definitely some business gimmick. But for you, don't need to worry. As I'm suggesting you, guiding you, when you can deactivate or and how actually you can use it, or everything. I'm going to guide you. So it's not going to charge anything. Don't worry. So this is really important, and we are going to perform tomorrow. So it's all relevant to the same thing about creating account. I want to practice PySpark. Yeah, so we are going to do this part. Don't worry. This part definitely, as I said, like Python, PySpark, and SQL, and even Power BI, including DAX functions. Everything we are going to use in Fabric. Okay, so it's going to be very interesting. In one platform, you are going to learn various tool, or you can say it's like a head start for various tools. Okay, so uh, you are welcome in terms of exploring that part, moving forward, like tomorrow onwards. Fine. So looks like that's all. We have some important message, and yeah, again, I'll tell you, don't mention numbers, don't use something which is not relevant, because it's not something your personal chit chat, space, right? So try to be professional, and I will make sure tomorrow onwards it's not going to be public also. It's going to be completely anonymous tomorrow onwards, because we need to fix, like how I should get these questions separately myself, and then look into only the questions which is relevant for the session and respond you. uh okay, so that's fine. So we are going to conclude today's session, and we'll see you, all of you, tomorrow. Make sure most of your friends and colleagues are joining, because tomorrow onwards it's all hands-on and practical session. Okay. First two session, it was just introduction to Fabric and cloud computing. Tomorrow onwards, it's all about Fabric hand. Thanks everyone. See you tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thank you, sir, for the
Thank
insightful and engaging session. I'm sure everyone gained valuable knowledge from today's Microsoft Fabric session. A big thank you to all the participants for your active participation and enthusiasm throughout the session. So before we conclude, a few reminders. Please complete the feedback form shared in the chat. It will be only open for 1 hour. So ensure your attendance is marked as per the program guidelines. Join us tomorrow at 7 p.m. for day 3, where we will continue with more exciting concepts and hands-on learning. We look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow. Until then, keep learning and have a wonderful evening. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.